What is up? Ooh, I'm getting an echo, and I don't know why. Let me try to fix that. I don't know if that's coming through. I don't know if anybody's... why is it doing that? Why? I don't know. I don't know. Try that. Still a little bit of an echo. I'm not sure why it's coming through like that. Try that. I'm not sure why it's echoing like that. What's up, Kent Hovind CPA? Let me know if it's echoing really bad for you. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Let me... Oh, I bet it's because I was messing with stuff. So let's check in here. What did I do? Oh, I bet it's probably monitor, mute output, monitor. Does that work better? I don't know if that works better. I don't think that's... I think that's not better. That's not better. Sounds fuzzy. This is a test and it's not going well, obviously. I'd like to be able to get into the video, but I don't want to do it if I'm sure it's... Try that. That didn't help. Mute output. I don't think that'll work. That's gonna bother me because I hear it in my headphones, and I'm gonna have to figure that out. I've been kind of messing with stuff, trying to... It's been like a year and a half now since I've messed with this at all. I know I got into here. I was hoping that would help. I don't think that's helped at all. I don't know. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. Let me see if I can move the chat over a little bit. There it is. Yes, it just got a little better, but went back though. The first one was better. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I wish I could figure out why I'm getting like double volume. Or it seems like the microphone is picking up my voice twice. And I'm not sure why it's doing that. I'm going to try to figure it out. Because I haven't even really watched this. I just saw that this was on. And I was like, well, that would be perfect to get back into streaming. Go to the Yeti. Not sure why it's doing that. No, I want that. See, I don't think I want monitor and output if I'm remembering correctly. I think with that, alright, I think that might be better. Let me know in the chat, you guys that are there, if that's better. Yeah, I think I wanted monitor off. And I think my microphone is going to be extremely loud because it's been a year and a half. Let me turn the gain down a little bit. So hopefully that's going to help. It's been a year and a half. I'm going to really have to adjust things, maybe get away from the microphone a bit. Been a year and a half, and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, that's fun. I can't get my second monitor. You know, I was stoked to do it, but as soon as I started doing it, I got echo and reverb. Yeah, I'm kind of loud. Let's see if I can turn that down a little bit, maybe. See, Hopefully that'll help a little bit. Just turn it down right here in OBS a bit. Yeah, I really need to get in and adjust my settings. Like I said, I don't have a second screen, so I can't really, unless I have OBS pulled up to the full screen here, see your chats at all. And this go around, as we get through a rebranding process that's going to happen eventually, and eventually me and my daughter is going to start a review channel, really make an attempt at this YouTube thing now that I'm sober. Damn near, if not over a year and a half now. I don't do 10-step programs. I don't keep track. I haven't drank since, I don't know, that whole like nervous breakdown thing I had last year. Even before that, I think. So yeah, it's been like a year and a half since I've drank. I quit smoking cigarettes. I only vape now, and that includes weed. I don't smoke flower weed. I only vape. I've made a lot of changes. I've lost about going on right about 90 pounds now. I can't wait till I go and get a new web camera. My webcam, I found out today, isn't working anymore. I was super stoked to show you guys the weight loss. I think putting side by sides from me a year and a half, 2 years ago compared to me now would be interesting. I've dropped almost a whole human being at this point, but I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of the health changes that I've made. Life has been, if you're on my Facebook, life has been really, really rocky for me, and I plan on going into all of that once I have everything set up the way that I want. And as far as I understand, that is the real Smokey Saint in the side chat there. Smokey is back. That is, like I said, when I got home today, I just got to a new place, so that's how I can stream now. If you've reached out to me, I've kind of vaguely told you why I haven't been streaming the last year and a half, and it's essentially I moved. I made a very bad decision. I moved, and I will talk about that move and about toxic family members and about struggles in life. I will be talking about all of that as we get into this thing. So, but that's for later. I haven't watched this yet. Like I said, I got my internet yesterday. I decided after work, because I work very weird hours now. I start working at 4 in the morning, and I can pretty much work until 12:30 or after that whenever I decide to stop working. 12:30 being a normal 8-hour shift, and then I can pretty much get overtime whenever I decide I want to get overtime. So I work a very odd shift now. I got out of work at 12:30, and I'm like, you know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna see, because I'm on like Wi-Fi. I've never tried to stream on Wi-Fi. I need to go get it. I can't find my damn Ethernet cable. It's been that long since I've streamed. I can't find my Ethernet cable. And I had like 5 of them. One of them was like 50 feet long, and I can't find any of them. Even though I remember packing specifically the long one. I remember packing it when I moved in with my brother. But I'll be talking about all of that, and I don't have any of that. So hopefully this is going to work. I'm going to be doing this on one monitor. My other monitor should work, but there's like a short in it, and I've got to really finagle it. And I got frustrated trying to do that a few days ago. So I got so frustrated that I took it all the way to the basement. So I am going to try to get that up here and working. If not, I will go buy another. I am planning on maybe this week. If not this week, next week I'll be getting a new webcam. They're inexpensive. Shouldn't be too hard to get one. Because I really do. I want to, especially, Smokey's in the side chat there, and he gave me such a hard time about my weight that it would be good for him to be the fat one now. What's up, Mrs. Smokey Saint? I'm not sure who you are, Mrs. Smokey Saint, but I don't know, man. I don't know if you guys really want to watch this. I'm gonna be old rage and kind of no holds barred with this. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I see Will Kincaid is in the side chat as well. I'm sure that they'll be correcting me with whatever propaganda they got going on now. But I'm just gonna spin this from my point of view. Now I will be up front. Like Smokey did kind of reach out to me on my Facebook. It was a laugh. I'm like, I mean. it takes some. You got to have some pretty big fucking balls to reach out to me on my Facebook after the whole Facebook fiasco, and like I'll grant, like, because I think that they were misunderstanding, or maybe in my drunkenness I was misstating the issues I had with them, like putting my Facebook on blast. For one, like, I didn't understand that my settings were the way that they were, so that was a surprise. But for two, it wasn't like you were doxing me. Like, I had said my name before, people had said my name before. The issue was you were doxing whoever was on that page that you were showing, right? Like, the people, I had a lot of content creators, and then there was the whole, like, calling my work thing, but old school shit. I don't really worry myself with those things anymore. I'm a lot less stressed out. I will go ahead and put out, like, there's going to be this, like, rebranding phase with the Raging Atheist, because I don't really consider myself an atheist any longer. I haven't for a long time now, for about a year and a half. Now, that being said, I think technically I still am an atheist. I don't believe in God or divine being or even necessarily the supernatural. I think that there's things out there that we probably don't understand, and as soon as we understand them, they would go from a supernatural explanation to a very natural one. But I am on a spiritual path now. I do consider myself a Taoist. I've kind of blended, kind of like I did before I quit religion altogether. I've blended several religious philosophies together, and I'm kind of walking this path where I'm trying to find peace and understanding in my day-to-day life, and hopefully that's going to translate into my YouTube life here. I'm no longer a raging person. When I made the Raging Atheist, I specifically chose raging, and I know Matt Powell and Smokey and several Christians have given me, like, a hard time about using that particular wordage, but I used it very specifically because at the time it was an adjective that really described me perfectly. I was very angry, not just at what I considered the lie of God that I had been told my entire life, but the lie of society I had been told my entire life, my lack of substance within that society, all of my repeated failures throughout life, which I think I've always been fairly open about. Like, I'm like this fuck up that you probably shouldn't listen to, outside of the fact that I read a lot. I try to be very knowledgeable about the things that I do speak of. And it's really unfortunate that, like, most of my alcoholic period in life got played out on YouTube, because I had always drank, but I'd always been kind of like this binge alcoholic. I had never been like a full-blown alcoholic, and I had really, like, before I started doing YouTube, had just started drinking again. I had stopped drinking completely for quite a long time, but I think it was when I first started doing YouTube is when my mother died, and drinking became a coping mechanism, dealing with that. And then a year and a half ago when I stopped drinking, that was what I really had to, if I wanted to continue to stop drinking and not go back to drinking and to continue using that as my crutch, I had to deal with the underlying issues that were assailing me, and the primary issue was the grief of my mother dying very unexpectedly at a very young age, at a time when I wasn't prepared for her to die, and she was pretty much my only link here in Battle Creek, the only person that I had that I really considered to be to care for me. And I do plan on talking about all of that kind of bullshit that I've been dealing with eventually, probably sooner than later. But I am on the spiritual path now, and I don't even really want to know what to call it. Like, I technically am an atheist in the fact that I don't believe in a God and a divine being. But I do think that there's this great mystery, these great mysteries in the universe that we just don't know. And I think it is within my arrogance to claim that, to make that claim that there is no God was a claim of arrogance and ignorance, because I can't know the impossibility, the infinite amount of things that I don't know. And all things aside, me, rationalizing the experience I had a year and a half ago as a nervous breakdown doesn't take away from the thing that happened to me a year and a half ago and sticks with me still. I've just been able to rationalize it away in a very naturalist way that it was a nervous breakdown. But it's still there. I still had that very strong feeling that I was touched by something that I don't understand. And I still have this very strong feeling that, and this is just wordage, this is just terminology when I say the demon, the fuck it demon that I spoke of a year and a half ago is something that exists. And I don't think it's an actual demon. I think it's just, I don't know, a corruption that can take hold of us human beings, maybe all life, and where we just say fuck it. And I've pretty much done that my whole life. I've been this like abject failure, and this last year and a half has been probably the epitome of all of that. And I'm going to talk very openly about that. I've had a 2-day period where me and my daughter had to sleep in my car, and I thought I was going to be homeless right now. And I'm not, and the fact that I'm not is testament to that I cried out to the universe and asked for help, and I got it. And I got it out of nowhere. And now I'm here in this place, and I'm able to talk to you guys again when I haven't been able to do that for a year and a half. And that's going to be a very important conversation that I want to have moving forward about toxic family and when it's time to cut ties. But that's for a conversation for later. Now, as I said, I am on this like single screen thing, so this is going to be awkward. I'm used to having. It's been a very long time since I've had to do this on like a single screen. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go to share screen. It's going to be all like awkward and shit. We're going to go there. We're going to do this Brett Keane thing. So I get two of my favorite people, Smokey Saint and Brett Keane. Probably two of the people that I've interacted the most with online here. And unfortunately for them, they've had to interact with me pretty much drunk off my ass every single time I've talked to them. Now, my criticisms of both are probably still the same. I think that Brett is... I don't want to call him a grifter because I don't really think that he makes a lot of money off of what he does or the whole flip to the Christianity thing. But I think he tries. And I think that's kind of why he started, but now I think he believes the stuff that he believes, and I think that he's got the bigotries that he has, and that's something that I really want to try to be more open-minded to. So in the past, as raging, it was very easy for me to kind of condemn or come down on people for their bigotries, but now I'm in this understanding phase of my life where I've kind of melded these philosophies of Taoism and Buddhism and Native American spirituality, and I'm trying to find this like inner hippie that I used to be way before I ever thought about becoming this raging atheist online. And I do apologize to the side chat because I cannot see your side chat at all. I'm like, tell me if I'm wrong, and I don't have my second screen to actually see. I would say that I could pull it up on my phone, but I've been at my job listening to my earbuds all day. So I can't even use my phone. It's pretty much dead. So yeah, I'll definitely read the side chat, and hopefully, we're not going to have any lag issues. That's what I'm really interested in. Lag issues, volume settings. I want to get this thing, looking a lot better than I did before. I want to kind of get professional with it as much as I can, as this just being a hobby, working a full-time job. And yeah, I don't want to get ahead of myself because all that personal life shit I will talk about on a later date. But this is, I haven't watched it. I don't know how interesting this is going to be. I do know that Smokey's going to show his face. Now, I have seen something. I was sent something several times. I think Kent Hovind CPA was sent it to me the last time, and I actually watched it. I had a lot of people sending this to me a couple months ago, I think, maybe a month ago, and I never really paid attention to it. And then, when Kent Hovind CPA sent it to me, it was after Smokey had reached out to me on Facebook, and I did respond back to him, and he never responded back to me until recently. And I'm still deciding if I'm going to respond to that. That's how fucked up, our YouTube beef was. Now, I don't know if this was an AI fake. Smokey, you can answer this in the side chat if you want. As I understand it, Smokey Saint has come out and stated that he is Josh Herbel, and pretty much that he was a sinner, and he is seeking his I don't know the wordage I want to use here, his salvation, I guess, his redemption. I guess we're in the Smokey Saint redemption arc. So this is going to be interesting. I have no idea what it's going to be. I did not pre-screen this. I know I probably should have, but I really wanted to try to do this today and see if everything worked. Like my computer's like 5-6 years old now. I don't even know like is my computer going to be good enough to stream again. I had no clue. I have no idea. So this is all like, this is like brand new to me actually, again, because when I was learning all this shit before, I was a consummate drunk. I was drunk all the time. I'm sober now. I think that I'll probably be more effective, I'm hoping, as a sober person than I ever was as a drunken raging buffoon. So without further ado, I'm not starting this at any particular point. Let me make sure that the screen actually looks decent, right? All right, it seems like we're gonna look decent on the screen. So let's minimize that and get back to this. And I really wish I could see your side chat. One thing that I do want to be better this go around is seeing side chat, responding to side chat, at least making that a very solid effort.
Interviews for many, many different reasons. I feel like whenever you do in-depth interviews with Christians who've been Christian for a very long time, as opposed to me.
And right now is like seriously the time I really want to be checking like OBS, making sure all volume levels are great. I can't really do that from this standard. Let me get back to that. I'm gonna make it. I don't know why it's so.
Christian for
let's see how my volume levels are looking.
That I learned
seems
more.
Like
it helps me in my
I can't
personal
see
life.
it. Right?
Helps me to have a stronger, how shall I say, outlook right. or perspective. And sometimes
I hate not having my second monitor up.
Questions that I myself wasn't sure how to deal with, and it's educational, and it's a pleasure to get to know people that way. Also, I need to ask you. You don't have a problem with me putting this on the radio later as well, right?
No, sir. Upload it, re-upload it, clip it, do whatever you want.
All right, so not to be mean, but I gotta be a little mean. Maybe you're just buff, Smokey. Maybe you're just buff. And this would hit a lot harder if I actually had a camera and you could see, like, I'm not obese anymore, as you so eloquently let me know so long ago, and I drunkenly no, I'm not obese, I'm just fat. I will admit I was obese and looking a little chunky there, Smokey Saint.
All right,
excellent. Well, by all means, sir, go ahead and feel free. Take it away. Ask me, I guess, anything, really. Whatever you would like to go through or inquire about, theology or otherwise, I am at your disposal.
The elephant in the room, the first question Brett has to ask is, why are you a serial liar, and why did you lie about being a sex offender? That's got to be the first question asked, I would assume.
All right. Well, my first question would be,
if you want to see, is this going to be an honest interview? Are we going to have an honesty session here? Are we going to be transparent and forthcoming? That would have to be the first question, I would assume.
Can you share a bit about your upbringing and how you were first introduced to Christianity?
Sure. I was.
All right, surprise, surprise. Brett Keane totally fails as an interviewer. Come on, Brett. Softballs for real.
I was raised in the faith, non-denominational, really. But I was also put into Catholic and also Lutheran catechism and early training in my youth. So I very much grew up with the knowledge of Christianity and stayed in a non-denominational position pretty much my entire life, aside from attending, of course, Catholic and Lutheran catechesis and catechism. So later on in life, I adopted more of a almost, I would say, free grace position on my faith. I had adopted a viewpoint that there really wasn't anything that I could do to compromise my salvation. And so I was more apt to give in to worldly lusts and even compromises to my ideology and sometimes even my moral.
I know, like I'm probably late to the show. When I say like I haven't, I mean you guys know I haven't streamed in like a year and a half. Anybody that's here has knows that. Like anybody that's going to be here this first stream back knows that I haven't streamed. I know Kent Hovind has been constantly asking me when I'm going to come back, and I've given them several different answers several different times. But I cannot be the only one here that finds it utterly weird to actually see Smokey Saint live on screen, speaking not behind an avatar, which is always like one of my biggest gripes. Like I don't really mind if you utilize an avatar, but if you're gonna have like, if you're gonna put your political opinion out there, I think it's very cowardly not to put it out there with your face. Becomes very easy to only have political opinions for hyperbole, right, or for trolling purposes. Like it becomes very easy in your anonymity online to espouse beliefs that you might not espouse if your identity is available. Now, I think that the country is shifting. If anybody hasn't seen the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee surrounded that he recently did, and I think it's safe to say, like, Jubilee, like, we're clearly recruiting their far-right conservatives from, like, Nick Fuentes groypers, but, like, people aren't afraid to say things that they might not have said 5 or 6 years ago. And I think that that's an obvious shift within our society, backlash due to what they would call woke culture. But I think that inherently America itself is flawed. America itself is ingrained with this hatred and these bigotries, and it's like even the founding fathers whom themselves, like we could take Thomas Jefferson as an example, himself a slave owner, really struggling with the idea of slavery, the idea of America being this home of the free, and I think that we see that struggle still playing out to this very day, and it's why, like, we have these phases in our society where it can be pretty much the unspoken outlawed rule. Like, me and Smokey had this really long discussion about utilizing the N-word and whether or not it's free speech. And like, we both had the stance that it is free speech, but I take the stance that free speech comes with a penalty. Like, yeah, you can be as free with your speech as you want, and the next guy can come along and slap the piss out of you for it as well. And in fact, to me, if you take away the assault criminality of that slap to the face, which would be in itself an expression of speech, right? Yeah, you can say the N-word and I can slap you in the fucked face. That's just reality. That's the reality we live in. But the backlash to that is what we're seeing, and I see it at work. I'm sure I'm not the only person that sees it when they go out into the real world and notice, like, white people are saying a lot of things now that they probably wouldn't have said, and they're not ashamed of it. And the Mehdi Hassan Jubilee is the perfect example of that, where we literally have fascists not afraid to reveal themselves. Like, yeah, I'm a fascist, and then laugh about it. Like, it's fucking disturbing. So, the dynamics of the country is shifting, and I don't even know how I got on this tangent, but we'll continue the video. That's one thing you'll find hasn't changed from the drunken knock to the sober knock, is I will go on tangents and forget why I went on them, and I will do it all the fucking time.
Because of a sense of infinite security. I remember the sensation
probably the
of
weed.
having that type of
I do still
feeling
vape weed.
as I progressed later on, and then delved into atheism, which is ultimately where it led me. I had a series of interactions with what I would say some relatively smart, intelligent Christians that were all too happy to be harsh in the delivery of their message, which kind of shook my confidence in the atheistic worldview that I had built based upon some very, I guess you would say, flaccid and shallow philosophies and viewpoints of Christianity, as if the view I had of the falsified Christianity was just a straw man that was constructed by a series of, sub-sufficient teachers and operators of the faith. They had given me a version of Christianity that to me was not tenable and not defensible. And so it made my faith weak and frail. And with the right pressures and the right instigations, it was easy to justify giving it up. I mean,
I don't know if I really buy this. I'll probably have to do this repeatedly because my OCD is going to go crazy. Making sure like my volume levels are great. I find it really hard to believe that Smokey Saint was ever an actual atheist, and like that reasoning there for your stint into non-belief. I don't know. I had weak teachers so I had a weak faith, and it was really easy for me to be influenced. I don't know. It's like you're blaming. You're blaming like the human aspect of religion on why religion failed on you the first time, and then it wasn't until you found the newer, better version that you were able to like defeat the evil demon or whatever you think it was. I don't know. It just sounds generic. It sounds like something like Christians make up just so they can sell a story. I can't, attest to that personally. I wasn't there. I didn't know you then. I've never known you personally, but it's just, I'm sure that some Christians, I don't know, like, can you call a momentary lapse of faith, which is what I think you're describing? It might have been a long moment, but a momentary lapse of faith. Can you really honestly say that that's like becoming an atheist? Because I don't think so. I had when I stopped believing, I had a momentary lapse of faith, and it's something that I kind of struggled with for a while. Like, and I wasn't even a Christian. I was like into that at that point, like into probably the Taoism and the Native American shit at that point. Like, just, and I still had this struggle, like, I don't know, giving it up. Like I don't really believe in this shit. And then a few months later, I'm like, well, I kind of miss that. I miss all my friends. I miss really being able to talk openly about these things and missing the community. And I would go back and, it's something that I struggle with. So I don't know, maybe Christians, when they come up with these stories about being atheist, are being genuine with them, but it's just never really come off as that. It's always more of like just this concoction that has been created so they have an attack, because most times when you talk to these people about, or listen to the way that they describe atheism, it's not real. It's not anything that I've ever experienced, even as an atheist activist, a drunken one at that, I grant you. But I don't know. It's kind of like how conservatives describe Joe Biden, right? Like if you listen to a conservative describe Joe Biden, he's like a socialist that wants to be like this communist dictator, right? But like if you like look at Joe Biden in reality, he's this moderate right-leaning corporate Democrat that was all about the status quo and try to really govern from the middle and try to bring Republicans in, and it's probably why he failed as a president, almost as much as like him being like 90. And not being there cognitively. Like, it's not about age, it's about your cognition, and he just wasn't there. He has some really good people around him, but I think it's pretty much undeniable at this point that he just wasn't there. But the thing that drives me crazy about that, like, these Republicans, forget that it wasn't that long ago that their icon, can't call him the Republican god anymore, Trump is that, but their icon, Ronald Reagan, was in his second term with Alzheimer's and pretty much had no cognitive abilities at all, and yet he was the great white hope of the Republican Party until Trump came along.
And the allure of the idea that you only get one time in this life and you better do everything you can with it, the type of moral licensing that you're able to give yourself in the pursuit of greed, gluttony,
I just realized like I'm getting like super close to the microphone, so hopefully I'm not being uber loud again.
lust, all of these things. It's cataclysmic to the human soul and to the betterment of life. And only through a series of what I would call probably Holy Spirit inspired circumstances and events did I reactualize, recenter, and come back to the faith, but now with a completely different tool set, a completely different perspective of what Christianity was, what the faith was.
Maybe I'm just like being confused here, but now, like, are you saying that you man, I really wish I could see the side chat. Are you saying like you was an atheist when you were doing the sexual predator shit? Is that what you're saying? And now you're a Christian again? Like, I don't. Maybe I'm mishearing that. I don't know. I had to. I should. We're watching it now. Let's go back a little bit. Where am I at? Let's go. Let's listen to that again. Let's try to be fair and hear what I thought I heard or not.
You only get one time in this life and you better do everything you can with it. The type of moral licensing that you're able to give yourself in the pursuit of greed, gluttony, lust, all of these things. It's cataclysmic to the human soul and to the betterment of life. And only through a series of what I would call probably Holy Spirit inspired circumstances and events did I reactualize, recenter.
And I'm realizing that I misspoke, because I'm making it seem like that shit happened like. I bet SideChat's going crazy. I wish I could see it, because I'm making it seem like with that wordage that I used and how I phrased that, like Smokey was doing sexual crimes like not too long ago, and that's not the case. This, that shit happened a long time ago. Hopefully you're a repentant man. I don't. How can I word this correctly? I will never forget or fail to utilize it against you. But I do truly hope that you have repented that bullshit, and I'm using Christian terminology on purpose there, and forsaken that shit forever. Hopefully you'll settle down and you'll live a productive life, arguing with people like me forever.
And come back to the faith, but now with a completely different tool set.
And if you are facing that was indeed you, and being repentative of your crimes, and you're doing your what you're supposed to, then you'll, in my book, you're doing everything that you can, but like all of us, and with that stigma, it's worse. You got to deal with the stigma of having committed those crimes. Now, I will tell you that it will follow you forever, as my shit has followed me. I've never ran away from the fact that I was a felon. I committed my felonies at a very young age, and to be fair, I think Joshua was in his 20s, so a little older than me, but still fairly young. So not take away from the whatever the victim felt or any of that, but who am I to say, oh damn you, and when I myself am a perfect example that people can change and no longer do the crimes that they've committed. So as long as you're not committing any further crimes, I'll only hold the ones that you've committed so far against you, as you so fairly do to me.
Completely different perspective of what Christianity was, what the faith was, what sound teaching was. And I realized that it wasn't that I was convinced that Christianity was false. I was convinced that the false version of Christianity I was fed was false.
All right, so like that's not like an atheist at all. All right, let's see if we can see the side chat. Yeah, it would be easier for me to see the side chat and probably less off-putting if I do this. Let's go. Oh, not there. There. Let's go back up to there, and then let's like just go here. So, man, way more like I can I like actually see a number from this one? I don't know. Like more people are here than I thought. Like I haven't streamed in like a year and a half. So let's say what's up to everybody. I haven't done this in a while. I'm a little concurrent viewers 10. We got 10 of you here. Holy shit, man. That's great. I did not think that was going to happen. Looks like I'm having some keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Hopefully we're not lagging out. Welcome back. Smokey, Will, Bree is here. What's up, Bree? Yes, it's weird, man. I haven't done this in so long. Christian Carpenter was here. Puffalopicus. Do I always say that wrong? Puffalopugus. I always said that wrong. Puffalopicus. No, I always say it right. We say it right. I say it right. Tux TV, Smokey Saint, Will Kincaid. Of course, Kent Hovind CPA is always here. Let's see. Amy Newman? What's going on, Amy? Of course, Jill is here. Holy shit, Jill. I think I forgot about you until I saw Jay Pasick talking about you on break one day. I'm like, oh shit. That might have been what got me itching again. What's up, Nexus? What's going on? B.S. Lewis? I'm more shocked that the Raging Atheist is back than Smokey Saint. Yeah, we're gonna have to rebrand that. You know, I'm not really raging anymore, and I don't know. I guess philosophically speaking, I'm still an atheist. Even like with the spiritual path I'm walking, I try to not to tolerate too much bullshit. You know, like when I kind of the Buddhist and the whole we've lived, there's 10,000 past lives and karma and blah blah blah. Yeah, fuck all that. Don't believe in none of it. Basement Dweller, holy shit, you're still not in prison? I figured you'd be in prison. I get it though. You know, Trump blocked the Epstein list just for you. Basement Dweller. Holy shit, I can't believe Basement Dweller's still around. John Yeager, God's Integrity Pathways, Super Alpha. Yeah, I don't even know, like I said, I don't even know how interesting this is going to be. Brett's throwing softballs. We'll see if we get into some spicy shit. Let me go back, because I didn't really read much of, I'm not really seeing anything about, lag too much, which might be a good sign. Definitely going to be watching the playback. It might have been way more interesting for me to have covered the actual Mehdi Hassan thing. Orla Saraf is here. Man, so many people just coming in. This makes me feel good, right? This makes me feel good. I'm I literally thought I'd be talking to myself today, so this makes me feel decent, and hopefully this new iteration of myself isn't going to piss too many people off. But it really shouldn't. I'm still this hyper leftist, although I do piss off lefties sometimes with some of my takes. I'm just an honest person, and I really thought about doing the Mehdi Hassan thing, because I've been watching reactions to that shit, and it blows my mind, for one, that in America anybody's really so if you're a skinhead with a swastika in between your eyes, I get it, right? You're gonna probably tell everybody you're a fascist, but to see somebody say, yeah, I'm a fascist, laugh about it, and to see half of the people in the circle clap, I almost covered that. That might have been more interesting, because I didn't watch this at all. I just saw that, holy shit, Smokey is really back. So when he reached out to me, that was a legit thing, right? So I don't know how interesting this is going to be. you know, like with Brett, you never know. Like, is Brett going to be pissed at Smokey for like all the bad shit Smokey's ever said about Brett, or is Brett going to play team sports and really like throw softballs? And so far, it is a 5-hour stream. I imagine, you know, maybe if they open up the room, it might get a little spicier. I don't really see them opening up. So like Smokey and Brett just talking for 5 hours is like kind of fucking unbelievable, honestly. Yeah. So we'll see how much I actually cover of this, how interesting it's going to be. Hopefully Brett asks the good question. And I will be going through side chat and actually reading it, because I definitely don't have time to do that now. What am I doing? I forgot how to do this, y'all. All right, now we're back. Yeah, I got to get my other screen working again. Got to get it out of the basement.
And that did not lead me to another version of Christianity, as it tends not to. This is partially why false teachings and bad teachings, even like Young Earth, can be so dangerous, because if people have their faith undermined, they don't tend to just go to a different version of Christianity or just give up on that interpretation of Christianity they held onto. They just abandon the faith altogether. They tend to go into atheism. The heresy to atheism pipeline is very strong and very clearly seen throughout the world, and certainly throughout the Western world. So for me, personally, I was simply confronted with what to me was the undeniable truth that I had not adequately and properly falsified Christianity, just a bad version of it that was taught to me by intellectually inferior and, you know, barely capable teachers who were, and I don't fault them, I don't think it was malicious, they were doing the best they could with the information and the tools that were available to them, but it was insufficient for me. And not to make an excuse for the choices in my life or where I went, but the type of faith that I was given was frail and weak, and it was not well justified. And when I was confronted in my adult life with the tougher questions, and I did
see, like, I don't understand that notion, right? Like, the faith that I was given, so like, are you admitting to like childhood indoctrination and that like they just didn't indoctrinate you good enough? I don't know. Faith is like this personal thing, and if it's weak, it's because you were weak in that faith, and probably because, and I've said this often, like I truly think that most Christians, deep down inside, and they in a place that they probably really try very, very hard to make completely mute, but they just can't. Like, deep down they can barely hear, but it's still deep down in there, and it's this whispering voice saying it's all bullshit. And I think they all have that, and that's why faith is usually like it. I think like strong faith is like pretty much requires like bigotries. Like you've got to have hatred for shit to really like keep it. Otherwise, I think it's just this social thing that people know. I think a lot of Christians know they don't believe in God anymore, or that possibly they never really did, because it's a ridiculous fairy tale story that makes no sense. It really makes no sense at all, at least when it's coming from an Abrahamic point of view. But I would even go beyond that. When it's like most of the supernatural shit that human beings make up it's pretty easy. You know, it's food for fodder. Like, we've read so many stories at this time. Humanity's created so many stories at this time. It's just another story, and it's very easy to see it as such. Especially when reality just doesn't equate to that. So I think that, you know, your weak faith then was nothing more than that voice growing a little bit louder. And it's probably still down there. And it's probably still pissing you off a little bit.
Happy answers that gradually over time did chip away.
So like, your spiritual journey really becomes free the moment that you give up a path towards God, right? Like, when you stop looking for something that's not there and start looking for what might be, I think you'll be happier in life. I know I am.
I do have a list of questions that I have in a notepad that I put together, but every once in a while I'll throw in some real-time stuff like, You said that you were lured towards.
Are you drinking,
atheism for a
Smokey
little
Saint?
bit.
No way in hell, the Smokey Saint, who gave me more hell than probably anybody on this planet about my alcoholism, is sitting there getting drunk. Oh, excuse me, little burp there. Holy shit, I didn't know I could still do that sober.
A fake form of Christianity you were taught. What turned you away from atheism?
Can't even blame it on the Mountain
and
Dew.
What were you looking
I haven't
for
drank
in
it.
Christianity?
Maybe I need to. That was the burp.
In terms of what, it's hard to really put a finger on like one specific thing, and I don't think it would be one specific thing that turned me away from atheism. In my mind, the way I look at it, I mean, if I was to point at one thing to say this turned me away from atheism, I'd give credit to the Holy Spirit. But it's not. To me, it was
like, you haven't even really described it. 1 second. As I like pull shit out. Get back in the hole. Pulling out my headphones. Like, you haven't really described an atheist experience. Like, you described like a lapse in faith. I don't know how long this time period was, but like turned you away from atheist, and that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't sound like you were an atheist. It sounds like you made up a story so you can attack atheism, and you're the way that you're referencing it right there is like really weird. You know, like, you know, we might put it in our channel titles, but we don't go around calling ourselves atheists very much. Like, you know, when atheists are together, we're not hanging around in groups saying, "Hey, what up, atheist?" You know, or even thinking about, like, you know, somebody converting us away from atheism. You know, like, we talk about God on a pretty regular basis. I don't know. Like, you sound like you're speaking of atheism as a religious person would speak of atheism, and I don't think you would recall it that way if you were actually an atheist. I think that's the best way to describe the vibes that I get from it.
a series of works of God attempting to reach out to me, to show me grace, to show me mercy, not because of me or anything special about me, but just because he's good and he's merciful, and that's just who he is. And I was allotted grace, and he worked with me to reach out to me, to want to bring me back. And it's a series of circumstances, internal and external. A sense of a lack of purpose, meaning, belonging, a lack of really an ability to attach any true value to anything around you objectively. You know, only making up the value that you yourself can subjectively construct. And to analyze that, you know, from a perspective outside of just yourself, it's depressing, it's bleak, it's gray, it's small. The nature of the world, the way that it was put together, the way that the fine-tuning of the universe operates, the way that we clearly seem to live in an improbable universe, especially if you consider all of the cosmological constants that allow us to even be here to have this conversation. We're all just randomly put together to work in perfect synchronicity with each other.
Man, Christians say ridiculous shit. It's like, what is any of that? What does any of that word salad he just said actually mean? Right, like, improbable universe, right? Like, so the universe is so vast. We can't see beyond the universe. So, like, there's no way to know if universes are improbable because we've only experienced one, and we've only can experience one so far. And we, like, literally, like, human beings would probably have to be around for like 1 trillion years to get beyond that. I don't know. Maybe we can come up with some technology to pierce the expanse of the universe. I don't think it'll ever happen. I just don't. I don't think we'll ever breach that. Maybe we will. I don't know. I think saying humans can't ever do a thing is a bit much, but I think it far more likely we'll destroy ourselves way But to make that claim, like improbable universe, like what the fuck does that even mean, and how could you know that, right? Like these are the things that I speak of when I say, like, we all like to pretend we know so much, right? And I did it in drunken arrogance. So Smokey doesn't seem drunk here. This is just pure arrogance. It's how can you make that claim? And then just beyond that, the rest of the word garble that he put together there, I don't know, like he said, the fine-tuning argument that's been thoroughly debunked. Like, none of these things really matter. Like, you see fine-tuning because you look for fine-tuning, but you only have one universe to draw that information from. If you really wanted to define universes and know universes or anything about them, you at least would need two. But even that would not be a very good pool to draw your scientific speculations from. Like, we are so far beyond infinite knowledge, right? And like so far beyond, like, even like this is one of the things that's always driven me insane about Christians is, like, they can't believe in their true God because they can't even understand the bullshit they say about this God. Like, to have infinite knowledge, like for one God to have infinite knowledge. So if there are multiple universes, does this one infinite God have infinite knowledge of all universes, or are there other gods, infinite gods, in charge of, other, like, none of it makes fucking sense. And then it's this thing, like, if you truly believed in Yahweh, the storm god that came out of Samaria with Abraham, right, like the Bible says, then you would go out of your way to never displease him, ever in the history of your life, which is an impossibility because there's so many various ways and indoctrinations you would have to be aware of to know every infinite possible way you could displease this very easily displeased God, right? Like, and that's what drives me insane about it, is like, you put forth this imaginary being that you're not even creative enough to fully understand the magnitude of the things that you're saying. And you're not alone there. Because neither am I, and neither are fucking any of us, until we come to the truth that we know nothing.
I mean, the claim is so outlandish and improbable that to attempt to grasp onto it as a more reasonable explanation for the emergence of the universe than a god, well, now, to me, you're just desperate emotional pleading. It's little arguments like this, little recognitions, being willing to be epistemologically honest.
I'm not interested in this, really. Like,
justification.
let's speed it up.
I was adopting or not, and I think that's where
I don't know. Maybe just end it, and I'll actually watch
if I
it.
could point to maybe the most pivotal lynch.
Yeah, because I'm not. Yeah, let's just do that. Because I've got my little test in, and I'm not really interested in, like, I don't know, debating theology with Smokey yet, or talking theology with Smokey yet. Like, I want the hardball question. If I'm going to cover this, I want to see the answer to the hardball question. And maybe I got the answer in the side chat, and I just haven't been able to see it because I don't have my setup set up yet. I just, like, got out of work and, like, fuck it, we're doing it today. And I could have at least went to the basement and tried to get my other monitor working. Like, that would have at least made this a little smoother. But hey, I at least know that it worked. Like, the last time I tried to do this, like, I don't know, I went, like, retarded and forgot to, like, plug in the audio into my Yeti microphone. But, like, in my defense, it was like I hadn't had a Yeti in quite a long time, so I just forgot that I had to plug in to the stupid microphone again, so I remembered this time, and it worked so far. I was freaking out because I'm, like, not seeing shit move, but I got it, like, on small screen, so yeah, it's not moving. All right. That was, I don't know. We're gonna have to watch that. Like, maybe pre-screen it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what Smokey's saying in the side chat, and then we'll talk a little bit. Smokey Saint being arrogant. What else is new? Is Smokey still around? Did Smokey like? Did he say if he's like Joshua Herbel? Like, I don't know. I missed it. We'll find it. We'll find it on the playback, right? Maybe. Sure I will. I can find it now if I really, really looked. I asked several times, but like I got this thing like sent to me several times. Smokey only dates 13. Okay, keep thinking CPA. The narrative's dead. You look pathetic. If you're gonna stay a story, don't state the impossible and pick one of many others. I'm not sure. No way. Low married Smokey Saint. Tell me it's not true. Low. I am so disappointed in you. So disappointed. Consider mind blown. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna find it right about now. But I got this thing like, I don't know if it was like AI generated, but it was like Smokey Saint saying, "Yeah, I'm Josh Herbel," and blah blah blah. I need repentance. I thought about like maybe showing that when I came back, but I'm like, no, I'd probably get sued. This time for real. Yeah, it was really weird. Like the day I come home from work, Titan, because Titan says weird to see all the old slugs gliding out from under their rocks, and I'm like, the day that I decide, like, oh fuck it, I don't have a camera yet. I don't have my other screen working. I don't even know if my computer's like up to snuff anymore to do a stream. But fuck it, we're gonna do a stream, and somehow, because I've been like so disconnected from like from any of these streams, like in order not to stream, I had to disconnect. Like I got the fuck away. I got the fuck away. I'm gonna have to resubscribe to everybody because I got the fuck away from the conversation. That's the only way I could stay out of it, right? Because I was in a place where I couldn't be inside the conversation, so I wasn't going to torture myself with something that I just couldn't do. Like, I can make as many claims as I want that, like I'm never going to do this again, but this is the only way I really get to have any kind of conversation on these things. Everybody around me in Battle Creek, Michigan, are pretty much Trump supporters, or they've bought into the Kool-Aid, or they consider me way, way, way too left to talk to about these things. So I absolutely have nobody to talk to about these things. And yeah, so I'm going to eventually come back. The only reason it took so long this time was because I literally couldn't, and I wasn't going to torture myself by watching conversations I couldn't be a part of. And that's going to be a conversation for a later day. I haven't really even been open about it on my Facebook. I've been very, very, very quiet about what's been going on in my life outside of like just bitching about like not having anything, like working for basically nothing. Outside of that, and like bitching about Donald Trump and the fascism taking over America, I haven't really talked about like all the bullshit that's went on the last year and a half, and how I was completely silenced. But it's something that I allowed to happen. It's something that I agreed to, not knowing what I was agreeing to. I don't know. It's hard to explain something that I'm trying not to talk about. So I will be talking about it eventually. I just got to figure out how I'm going to talk about it. It's very personal stuff, and I've made that mistake before. But I think it's important to talk about it. Toxic family members, and when it's time to not because I'm an atheist or I'm this or I'm that. Just when is a relationship just too bad to keep, and what you're willing to accept to keep that relationship for longer than you should. I think that's going to be an important conversation to start having. But I want to do it under the correct brand, under the correct ideology of what I'm like putting forth, and which I still haven't quite fleshed out. I'm fleshing it out more than I did at first. When I first started walking this new kind of path. I don't know, it's still a very godless path. It's just a different path. I don't think a lot of atheists would agree with some of the things that I'm thinking about nowadays. So I can't wait to talk about those things. I've been looking forward to that like more than anything probably. But it was very weird that somehow I came across this on my algorithm, left-wing YouTube and reaction channels. I've been deep dive, really researching reaction channels because me and my daughter are going to start a reaction channel. I'm not sure when we're going to start that reaction channel. Probably when I have a new computer, when I have really good software to work with, which is kind of like the goal, right? To do it right this time, to make some kind of viable income coming through, and then like this channel, whatever it's going to become, is just where I hang out and talk and have conversations, which I got to set all of that shit up again. I haven't even opened, StreamYard or even OBS before today for like a year and a half now. When I first opened it up, like I was freaking out because, and I think this happened the last time I tried to like test and possibly stream, was it didn't work. It was like couldn't pull channel information from your channel, blah blah. And I was like, fuck, man, this thing ain't gonna work again. But I just had to log out and log back in, and it worked fine this time. So, or it appears to. I can't wait to actually check the playback. You come up here and visit me, yeah, dude. Yeah, Battle Creek's a weird spot, man. It's a weird spot right now. It's I'll be talking a lot about this actually. It's a dying city, a very small city. It was always a very small city, but it's dying, and it's dying fast. It wouldn't surprise me if in 30 years, like, this is a ghost town. Like Battle Creek, Michigan is a ghost town. Like if Kellogg's and Post just uproot and move, I don't know, somewhere else, which it really wouldn't surprise me if they did. I could very easily see this town going ghost. And Kellogg's and Post just, they can't be the heart's blood of this city anymore, it seems. They just can't. They don't have the capital for it. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if in 30 years Battle Creek is a ghost town. Honestly, it's something that I've noticed recently, because I've been walking this city for about the last month and a half, knowing that I had to move, and I had about a month and a half to move. And I just I'm a very lucky person that I didn't end up homeless, even though I work a full-time job. We live in America where that doesn't matter. I got very lucky, and I'm here talking to you guys today. And I wish I had my camera. I wish I could be looking at what I've always considered looking at you. As I do this, I got away from that at the very end because I was trying to hide the fact that I was still drinking. Everybody knew, but I was in hardcore denial. But yeah, I'm pretty different nowadays. I'm pretty different. I think differently. I react differently. I feel like I don't know. I wouldn't say like I feel my age again, because I still feel old and broken. But there's definitely a renewed energy, and a realization that I don't have much time to do all the things that I have always wanted to do. And it's time to really start doing those things right. And with that, I'm going to end this stream. It was really good seeing all of you again. I can't wait to really give it a go, to have two screens up here and really like interact with chat. It's something that I was really bad at, but it's something that I just got progressively worse at as my alcoholism progressed. So I'm really interested to see if that's something that I can get better at sober. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. Outside of all of that, I can't really remember how I used to end my streams, so we'll just end it with a positive, right? Like, humanity is this like fucking cesspool of indecision and arrogance and illusion, and really our only fundamental job experiencing this reality in the short amount of time that we do. Because if you really look at like other shit, like we could live a lot longer, honestly. Like fuck, a lot of things live a lot longer than we do. But we have a short amount of time, relatively speaking. We have a short amount of time, especially young time, right? And I think that we often forget as we get older just how susceptible we are when we're younger, and that this cesspool that we have created as humanity is evolving and worsening as we descend into what could very possibly be a real fascism. That it's the young that are going to carry out these lessons, right? And I've been watching this like really interesting debate between Destiny and other liberals, where these other liberals are really coming down on Destiny, and not over like the sexual shit. I'm not even really sure where things are at on that, but just based on like Destiny's rhetoric towards conservatives. I mean, and I don't even see why we call them conservatives anymore. They're fascists. And it was very interesting for me to see that in just kind of like piggybacking off of watching, you know, the Mehdi Hassan thing and fascist, like literally being, yeah, I'm fascist, mixed with liberals like really coming down on Destiny for basically making a joke about the girls missing in Texas, and just like completely dismissing the fact that the effect that we're having on this young generation, like this young generation are going to be the ones that either carry on fascism or carry on democracy. And I think that we need to start paying attention to them, because I don't think that we are. I think we're paying attention to ourselves and to our arguments, and there's a whole generation of young people that are going to tip the fucking balance, and they're completely being ignored. And I think that's very scary. And I said positive, didn't I? That's negative as fuck, but the positive thing is we need to be aware of it, and we need to really approach them and defeat fascism at its roots, because ideologies take root in the young. So with that, I don't even know, that was probably a bunch of word salad that didn't make much sense either. Got to call balls and strikes, but I don't know, that's just kind of like, I'm really enveloped with what I've been watching politically the last few days, and this concept of we need to understand what the fuck is going on here. So with that, I'm going to end the stream, and it was